I've reached the second to last episode of Ironheart. It wasn't easy. I persevered, I pushed through, had to take some extra sessions with my therapist, but I really pushed through. I'm at the second to last episode. And after all the thievery, murder, blackmail, criminal activities left, right, and center, what does it all boil down to? Daddy issues. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect, perfect sense. Yeah, all of that was just about daddy issues. Like this show needed to suck anymore. So after the events that happened last time, we find Robo Natalie inside the suit there looking at some old footage of what happened in the first episode with she and RiRi, as narcissistic as ever. Or your girl gonna be bigger than Pim, or your girl gonna be bigger than Stack, or you're gonna be bigger than Jobs. God forbid you just actually have a little humility, but whatever, because after what happened, hologram Natalie is trying to, come to terms with what it is she is or whatever. It's a whole bunch of other stuff that nobody really cares about, but that's what's going on. And what it is, she's looking at, recordings of the original Natalie and trying to figure out what to do, how to smile like her. It's all that. Meanwhile, while she's on the roof doing that, all of a sudden the suit gets captured by Shea Coulee, who then tells Hood that, yeah, I got this suit because they're all planning to off RiRi. Why not? Meanwhile, RiRi and Zelva, I think that's what they call this girl here, is at White Castle. And she is telling RiRi that, the cloak might actually be from Dormammu, because Dormammu is an evil entity that is most likely influencing this guy to do all this. So he's basically like an evil, you know, um, magic dimension god or whatnot. All right. So she's trying to explain it to RiRi, and RiRi's like, you're telling me this puffy ass cloud with eyes holds apocalyptic power? Yeah, because that's what happens about it. But RiRi's like, I don't believe all of that. Parker isn't the type who's interested in apocalypse or that kind of thing. He just wants to get paid and all that stuff. And then the girl is like, um, how sure are you about are you sure about it? Because she's like asking, she's so really asking her like, how sure are you? And she's like 50% and thing and all of that. And they're trying to get this thing done. Because when she tell her that, you mentioned the crazy magic scars, go back to the guy from the first Doctor Strange movie and how he had scars and so because he wanted to get eternal life and all of this nonsense, right? So yeah, so she's telling her that, Parker's not some evil wizard. He's just a guy who wants enough commas and dollar signs and all of that, because that's what's going on there, right? And she's telling her that, these kind of entities seek out people like that, people blinded by ambition and all of that, who just want what they want but don't realize that, by doing this they actually putting themselves in so much danger in regards to these things. And then she tells her, you're dealing with magic now, and magic always comes at a price. I mean, your mother told you to stay away from this, but hey, what does it matter? You clearly know what you're doing because you're a black girl with glasses, and that makes everything okay. Yeah, that makes it all okay. That's really all okay. And then she tells RiRi that, you may have bitten off more than you can chew, and RiRi's like, oh, I can chew a whole lot. Yeah, sure. So while they're talking there, in comes two members of the Gaylord of Crime, right? And they come in there and they're all like, they're looking for RiRi because they want to shut down this place and whatnot and the other and thing like that. And you know, testosterone. Mary says that this establishment is closed. So testosterone. When people don't leave, testosterone Kate comes there and says he said we're closed. Yeah, that whole he thing. Nobody's buying that, but whatever. So after she slams this guy's head into the table, everybody takes off running because they're all scared of these two. I mean, the men in there could have easily beat the shit out of them, but yeah, let's pretend this is okay. Now, several things in this entire fight so scene are gonna have make no sense. But the easiest thing that could have solved all of this is the girl RiRi is sitting with has magical powers and can transport them to another dimension. She did it before. All she had to do when these two so and so's walked in was just transport herself and RiRi to another dimension, fight over. What are they gonna do? Cuff the ground? That would not solve anything. That would have been the end of it right there. That would have been it. No problem. Then she could have just moved to a different spot in the other dimension and have them pop up there. Problem solved. But no, come in. So RiRi tells her you better take off, and she's like, you don't have to tell me twice, and gone. And then RiRi is there and they come in like you chose to come here, and she's like, oh, I like White Castle, and she's pressing the locator thing to call her suit, but she doesn't know that the suit has been captured by Shea Coulee. So they come in there and they're ready to kill her, right? Because they've been sent by Parker. Now, keep in mind the fact that they're there to commit murder, because that comes up a little later on. Good Lord. So what ensues is one of the most ridiculous fight scenes you will ever see. This girl who is like 4'8", because I'm gonna have to readjust RiRi's height at this point. I say it was 4'11". No, I think it's more like 4'8". Could be shorter. But she takes off running and they're chasing her around. And she's hitting them with things, ducking and dodging, slamming their heads into stuff. All of this thing there, bashing this one, the face, all of that, and running off there. I mean, the staff at White Castle could have called the police, but apparently they were too afraid of those two dykes. So whatever. I guess that's how it works. I'm not sure why, but I tell you, and it's running around with it, and then RiRi decides to punch testosterone Mary in the face, right? Doesn't actually work because you've got like no muscle mass at all. This one looks like they're on steroids, and yeah, this isn't fooling anybody with the whole heating, but still. So ends up kicking her back, and that's that. Now, as I said, several things about this make no sense, but more of that is coming up. RiRi drops her watch, the one that has a literal force field thing that comes out of it. Now, had she just activated said force field when they showed up, she could have just walked out that day. They would have been throwing blows like it had no tomorrow, and none of it would have affected her because she's, not there. So they tell her that the obituary tomorrow is going to read genius killed in White Castle, and then she's like, my death won't make the papers, and they're like, wow, that's dark, but yeah, but I low key felt it, yeah, high key, because apparently we have to do the whole, when somebody black gets killed, it doesn't make the papers, because we haven't had enough of this shit ruining everything at this point. So RiRi tells them, if you're gonna do it, I just have one request, just make it quick. So these idiots, right, pull out a gun and shoot at her. Now, and the force field activates and stops the bullet. Now, why I say idiots? You have a gun. What was the point of running around chasing her, getting your head slammed into it and all of this? You could have walked in, shot the bitch, and walked out. Problem solved. And again, like I say, they're perfectly okay with the murder. Keep that in mind. Yeah, so try as the thing, the force field thing activates and stops the bullet, right? That's it. So she comes there, they trapped in it, can't get out, push them back. And then when she looks to leave, bam, along comes Klong. So she locks the door because that's apparently going to keep out the person who likes explosives. Right. So she takes off running. Klong breaks in, and then they're like, yo, let's make this quick. I've got a date. I don't know who would date these people, but okay. Whatever. Meanwhile, Natalie in the suit is trying to free herself, goes through a different thing, and gets her saw and cuts herself free, and then takes off. Klong is there going about it, and then trying to get all of this stuff, trying to kill, blowing stuff up and all of this. And then RiRi says to her that RiRi is there, and RiRi says to her that you all try to kill me, that you tried to take a team, and she tells her what team. We're all disposable to Parker. He killed Rampage. And then Klong is like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're lying. So RiRi engineers a freaking potato cannon, shoots her with it, causing her to fall over there, and the bomb that she had barely gets away and explodes. RiRi runs outside. Understand me? And then she goes into the street, and this is the part that is really ridiculous to me. RiRi runs out there and is at a car, and Shea Coulee is coming. Now, I don't know why. I'm assuming she's attempting to steal this car, because last time I checked, she didn't have a car. She goes everywhere in this suit, or she travels with public transportation or something. But she runs outside to this car. Now, maybe the car belongs to the criminals, but you'd think they would have their keys. So I'm not sure what she was attempting to do by trying to open it. But if not, then she's attempting to steal someone's car. And like I tell you, you're not supposed to ask questions about these things, but that's what happens. So she can't get the car open, and Shea Coulee is coming at her. So what does this genius do? This genius runs in the middle of the street. She doesn't run onto the sidewalk where the truck can't fit. She doesn't cut into a side street or an alleyway where the truck can't fit. No, she runs in the middle of the street, making herself a clear target for the oncoming truck that will kill her. Yes, genius indeed. While she's running now, the suit comes out, attaches itself to her. She flies up, spins around, and then hits the truck. So it flips over, right? Flips over, Shea Coulee is screaming in there, and then what does she do? Show an iron middle finger, because this is exactly what this show really is. Dog poop and a middle finger to anybody with common sense. That's really it. Really it. Truck crashes. She comes out there, and Shea Coulee comes out. She does the whole intimidation thing, and Shea Coulee takes off. And then, Natalie shows up there and all, you're good. And she starts to bitch and whine about how you left me. I was in danger. They could have killed me. And Natalie's like, after what happened with Za or Xavier, what the hell he named it, she needed some time to process and all of that. But she didn't want to hear it. And so she's just like, you know what? I just had enough of this nonsense. And she just, goes back into her suit. RiRi attempts to fly away, but then gets electrocuted in midair and starts to fall. It's like, Nat, I need you. Natalie, I need you. Because, of course, you could say and do anything to people, but then when you're in problems, you expect everybody to drop whatever and immediately help you. That's how it works with her. That's how it works. So she ends up falling there, crashing into the ground, and guess who it is but Joe? The same Joe who she left to rot in prison for her crimes. He has apparently implanted tech into his body that gives him the ability to be strong, and he could shoot lightning and all kind of some kind of cyborg thing. Yeah, you know what's going on. So he comes down there and he tells her I was bailed out by a mutual friend, Parker Robbins, and starts to electrocute the living hell out of her. And she's there like, I never meant for you to be involved in any of this. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You took his tech. You got him. Made him an accomplice to your many crimes, and then left him in prison while you went to White Castle to sit down and talk about how you could take out a cloak, and then what? Oh, I could chew a whole lot. You never looked back. You never did help this guy. She even told the wrong answers again. Oh, I can help you. When he asked her how, I'm working on it. You have no intention of helping him. None. And then she decides to get angry. But he ain't having it. I'm telling you, and Joe is giving the whole evil speech about how, he never understood why his father liked power and thing, but he gets it now. And he shuts down her suit and starts to rip it off. Literally rip it off of her. You understand me? And then when he literally has her at his mercy and could kill her, and she's like, please don't. And I'm telling you, he has every reason at this point to offer. Every reason. But what happens instead? He doesn't. He tells her, well, he takes her helmet and he tells her, get out of Chicago, because if Parker finds out, he's not going to be so forgiving. So Joe actually proved he's a better person than she is. Because while she left him to rot in prison and he had every reason to come back wanting revenge and kill her, no, he decides, you know what? I'm better than that. This is not who I am. So he leaves her, proving he's a better person than her. Why not? So he walks away and she's left there to literally claw herself out of a damaged suit and is all beaten up and thing and runs away. So when that happens now, Klong sees it. You understand me? Klong sees that Joe let her escape, and Klong is starting to again, the only person with any common sense in this is Klong, And that should tell them your name Klong and your sense. Only person common sense, because Klong now starts to realize something is off. You understand me? Because she started to think about what it is RiRi said about Rampage getting killed there. So she realizes something is off. RiRi goes back home, right? And her mother is there like, oh, you got something. And the other one, when she sees her, she's like, oh God, what's going on? And then RiRi says, Mom, I need your help. And mother hugs up and all of this. And then she tells her what happened. And the mother is like, mother is helping her because she got a black eye and all kind of thing there. And she asks her, are you mad? And she's like, yes, I'm mad, but I'm just happy that I got my baby. Why didn't you tell me this? And she's like, I thought I had it under control. I wonder if she told her the part about how she killed someone. I wonder, because if she told her that, and mom is like, okay, I'm gonna help you, then I'm telling you, this woman, this whole thing about being a mother is really weird, but like really weird. I don't even know what's going on with it. I don't know. And she's telling her, how they need to get out of here. Parker's gonna come after them. They're in danger. They need to go and all of this. And then, the mother is the whole thing about her is like, you've been running all this time, you've been doing it, and tells her basically, you need to fight, and it's like the worst advice you could give. So I don't even care enough to continue with it. So I just kind of not even going and bother because it's ridiculous. Because I don't know what this woman is supposed to be doing as a mother. You should have actually come out and she tells her, like, really, there's some demons we just can't outrun. Like, if she told you everything, you know that that your daughter willingly joined a gang of criminals who participated in criminal activities that led to people getting killed. She was all about, oh, I'm getting money, and didn't care. And your whole thing about it is that I'm just glad that you're here, and there are some demons you just can't outrun. So what you need to do is just face them and fight and all of that. And Natalie shows up there and is like, me too, and they wanna help. They want to help her what's going on. So where do they take her? To the garage where her stepfather and Natalie died. And she's like, how could you even be back here and all of this and all of that? And she's talking about all of these things and whatnot and all of these problems that nobody cares about. And then we go through this whole nonsense. And like I stated in the earth, what does this all come down to? Daddy issues. Because when Natalie projects a hologram of RiRi when she was younger, and you see her there with the father and all of this, and like, and she's like, what was the point of projecting that memory? And she tells her, because when you try to forget the bad stuff, you also fail to remember the good things that happened and the ones worth remembering. And they go back there, and this whole thing with she and the father, it all boils down to some daddy issues that really needed to deal with. But no. And again, this is something that you could have actually patterned. These whole hologram things that you're doing, these hologram projectors that you could have patterned for people who have memories of loved ones, or people wanting, you could sell that. You understand? So people could see these memories and things play out. Even if they have something in video form, they could have it play out in front of them. You could have patterned that and sell it and make money. But no, you would rather go out and thief. That's what you would rather do. Go out and be a thief. Go out and steal everything that wasn't nailed down. How could you be a genius when you're this stupid? I really don't get it. But that's what it boils down to, a whole set of daddy issues, nonsense. And then RiRi's like, telling Natalie, I'm sorry for what I said earlier and all of this, and tells her that, sorry, I said that, sorry, I said that you're a problem, you're a glitch, but you're my glitch, and I'm glad to have you and all of that. And that's what's going on. And then RiRi says that, she needs to, she doesn't even have a suit. She needs to get a suit. She doesn't know what she's going to do. So the mother tells her, don't worry. I've got something here, and opens it up and shows her the car, right? This is the car that apparently the stepfather had fixed up for, and apparently RiRi had sold it off. And then, the mother's like, when I realized you were staying home, I bought it back. Which brings me to a very interesting question I probably should have asked earlier. What exactly does RiRi Williams' mother do for a living? Because I've never seen this woman work. I just see her home all the time. I saw her plaiting somebody's hair once. I don't know if plaiting hair gives you enough money to buy back a car. I'm really not sure how this actually works, because it's weird to me. But like I said, I've never seen this woman work. So I don't know where she gets money, but she apparently has enough of it to buy back a car. So they're going to use the car to turn the car into a suit. Yeah, that whole nonsense RiRi started off with at the beginning of how she needed millions, if not billions of dollars to build a suit. Yeah, she's going to use a car to build a suit. Is the contradictions in this is the worst, because you are absolutely ridiculous. You don't need money. You talked about how you needed a whole set of money to build an AI. You built an AI without needing any set of money. You talk about how you needed a whole set of money to build a suit. You built a suit without needing any money, but that's what you're doing non-stop. So yeah, they're gonna use the car to get it. So the gaylords of crime, including Joe, come back, and Joe tells Parker how he killed RiRi, right? And Parker's overjoyed. That's what I like to hear. So he asks him, how did it happen? And he's like, well, I just zapped her. She went down, and that was it. But and then he's like, so how you get it by killing her? And he's like, oh, I love this story already. Well, keep in mind, again, as I said, the other gaylords of crime are perfectly okay about the murder, right? They're perfectly okay about it, right? But Parker wants details, and Joe isn't giving any kind of details. So he is like, you know what a good story needs? Drama. Says the guy who looks like he escaped from a Shakespeare in the Park play. So yeah, drama in truth. Okay, buddy, you do you, right? And he's telling me no emotion, no details, so he doesn't believe it. So he asks Klong, is that what happened? And Klong says no. But she doesn't say that. She actually expounds on it and says that he blasted her, destroyed her suit, and and then buried that iron bitch in a pile of rubble, right? So Klong, again, the only person with any actual sense, right, actually knows how to craft a story, because the rest of them are idiots. When that happens now, Parker tells them that, you all need to get some rest. Our next job tomorrow is going to be the biggest yet. I need everybody on their game, right? So he then says to Joe that, with RiRi gone, there's a spot open for you now. And if you want to get it, we could do that, right? Meanwhile, Klong goes to Shea Coulee and tells Shea Coulee that they need that I need you to do something for me. What's that? I need you to access some autopsy records, because again, Klong is with sense, and Klong realizes that Parker really did kill Rampage. Right? So that's what's happening. So yeah, he tells Joe that there's a spot open for you, and then Joe tells him no, he's not interested. That the deal was he takes care of RiRi, and that's it. He's done. Understand me? And then Parker tells him, okay, you're right. A deal's a deal. But RiRi also turned down my offer once, and then she ended up working for me. I think you'll do the same. No, he's not going to willingly want to work for him, because again, Joe has proven he's a better person than that. Now he just wants to get far away and disappear, because RiRi is a criminal and he's not. So he leaves, and then we come to Zah or Xavier, and again, it brings me back to another question. The same question I had with RiRi's mother. What does this guy do for a living? Because I've never seen him work. He's just always in his room listening to music. That's it. I don't know. Maybe he's a DJ, but you would think he would actually need to go out and be a DJ, but he doesn't. He's just there all the time, and then his headphones stop working, so he goes by the one that RiRi gives him, and he sees a note fall out, and he reads the note, and because that's what's going on. Meanwhile, RiRi is trying to rebuild her suit, and That's what's going on. But the mother comes in and tells her that a certain young man wants to join the team, and instead of that, it's basically a kid with the kid with the the little cart thing, because apparently this kid doesn't have to go to school at all. So that's what's going on. And they're trying to build something, and RiRi is freaking out because she says that she can't find a power source strong enough to compete with Parker, because he's getting some kind of unlimited power source and she doesn't have anything that could match that. All right. So she said that she needs something comparable to Parker's hood. She can't have anything like that. So then she comes up with the idea that she's going to fight magic with magic. She wants to add magical energy to the suit and pull magical energy from wherever it is Parker's getting his magical. She wants to pull it from there as well. So basically, she wants to add demonic energy to her suit because that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. So Parker is telling everybody that, our next mission is going to require everyone's focus. I need everyone to be on the A game. I need everything to go right. No, actually, he doesn't need them at all. And we'll see that soon. Meanwhile, Shea Coulee is sitting there looking guilty and watching Klung, wondering what the hell is going to go on, because Klung is the only person there with any actual balls. And I mean it. The only person with any actual balls, and Klung is an actual female there. So what's going on? So that's what it is. So Klung, being the only person with any actual balls, says, "Did you kill Rampage?" Parker's like, "What?" And then she drops the autopsy information that says that, Stuart, aka Rampage, OD'd. But we all know Rampage didn't do drugs. So she confronts him, and he starts to get damn careful what you're saying and all of this. And I think, and then, as he's as he starts to hear a sort of whispering coming from the cloak and all kind of things, Shea Coulee is talking about, we got a big job coming up, and Klung is rightfully telling him, this is nonsense and tell him, because when Parker says to her, "Careful," she says, "Or what? You're gonna kill me like you killed Rampage?" And that's what's going on. And then when she comes out and says it now, and tries to get it, my boy gets angry, comes at her, and then when Shea Coulee decides to step in and try and stop it, Parker slams Shea Coulee down, and then, Testosterone Marys, get your hands off her. The 6-foot black guy went, "Oh God." Hey, I tell you, Lord have mercy, yeah, get your hands off her. And then Straggler pulls him off and punches him. Right? Punches him. And then there's like, "Parker, this isn't you. That hood's got you messed up." And he's like, "No, it's got me right for the first time ever." And then they say, "Hey, we didn't sign up for this shit. You were perfectly okay with the murder like 24 hours ago. You just tell me you were perfectly okay with that. But now you're not okay with this. No, the moral idiocy in this is beyond believable, because they expect you to believe that this gang of criminals who have no problem pillaging, robbing, killing, destroying property, all of that stuff, have some kind of moral compass when it comes to the rest of this shit. No, it ain't working. So what does Parker tell them? Well, then leave. And he fires all of them. Tells them, get out. You're all fired. And not one of them is thinking the last guy that he fired, he killed. Maybe you should be worried about that. I'm just saying, maybe you should be worried about that. But they don't seem to get it. And then they're like, fine, let's go. And they leave there and Parker is all, well, whatever, I don't need any of you all. Because the criminals who committed crime, engaged in murder and did other things, they're just leaving. No repercussions for any of their crimes whatsoever, because they're an entire DEI group, so they must never face any consequences for anything. Of course, that's how it works. That's how it works. So RiRi wants to like I say, inject magical energy into the suit that she's getting. You want to get magical energy from possibly Dormammu, right? That's making sense in some way, shape, or form. I don't even know. I don't even know what we're trying to do as all of that. So Za or Zay, whatever, shows up again with his signature line, "Hey, black people," because apparently that's a thing people say. So then he and RiRi have this awkward moment that nobody cares about. And while all of this is going on, RiRi is still building her suit, bit by bit, because that's what's going on while the young lady is using magical glyphs to try and collect things and all of that. RiRi actually builds a working plasma cannon using scraps from inside the shop and from the car, because clearly you don't need big set of money to build this. For all that crap you were taking, what you were talking about, a bunch of nonsense. Because how exactly did Tony Stark build his first suit again?
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Right. Yeah, that's right. So they're out there trying to do what they got to do, building up the suit, putting things in place, all of this. It is what it is. Joe is looking to leave because he's had everything done. He wants to leave. The woman next door, Heather, is coming out there and she's making a certain nonsense that he tells her, she said she's going to call the police. Please don't, Heather. You're never going to see me again. He just wants to leave. She won't let it go. He gets pissed, walks over there, but then can't use his electrical powers. Why? Because then Parker shows up and tells him, he got admin privileges when he was having all this tech implanted into him. So now Joe has no choice but to listen to everything he says and obey. He basically turned him into some kind of rock'em sock'em robot thing where anything he tells him to do, he has to do. That's it. So Joe, once again, is being forced into something he doesn't want to do. He didn't choose this like RiRi, who chose to be a criminal. No, he's just getting forced into this. That's all. And he tells him, we need to go. So where exactly do they go? Back to the same mansion that Parker and cousin John tried to break into in the flashback. I should say not try, actually broke into in the flashback from the last episode. They go there, and then as they get to the thing, they has Joe break open the gate, and then the guards come out there. He shoots them. The guards are attacking him with tasers and all kind of stuff like that, and Joe is just tossing them around while Parker strolls inside, and that's it. And lo and behold, inside there's this guy, and guess who this guy is? It's Parker's father. Yes, because this whole thing has been about daddy issues, and we get to find out what exactly happened now. Apparently, when Parker was 12 years old, his father threw him out of the house. Why? Because apparently when his mom died, the only way he could get his father's attention was by being a delinquent pain in the ass. And when the father had enough of it and tossed him when he was 12 years old, that's when he took up a life of thievery, right? And the next thing about it is that all these companies that they have been attacking and getting people to sign things over, all these companies are subsidiaries The whole thing has just been one giant takeover because all the companies are the subsidiaries of the father's company, and everything he getting people to sign over to him is all there. It doesn't that he is now basically a silent partner in it and all of that. And father's like, he wants him, he puts a contract there because he wants him to sign it over. He's like, I'm not signing this shit. He doesn't he's take over the basic mathematism. This basically you could have done this whole corporate takeover remotely. Why are you here? And then he's like, I just want to look you in the face and find out what kind of father would kick out his 12-year-old son and all of that thing. I tell you, just a small time croaking ridiculous get up. I basically boils down to the fact he's telling him that, he basically tells him, I didn't need you. As a kid, you were trouble, you were no good. I didn't need you, and that's it. So what does he? So he basically gets all up in his face because this whole thing has just been about daddy issues. I tried with you, I really did. And then the whole thing about with the father, this other girls, and basically, I didn't want you. That was it. It wasn't personal, nothing personal. I realized, he's just because that's how I fucking realized, he's just like his father and all of that because daddy issues again. That's what this whole thing is. So then he goes invisible, pulls a gun on him and tells him, sign it, sign over everything to me. It's what I deserve and all of that. It doesn't have to get where you are in this moment. You screwed a few people. That's what you did. And it was never going to be enough. So he signs it over and he tells him, get the hell out of my house and don't ever, because doesn't let you know you're in my house. And if you call the police or anything like that, I'm going to come for you, because God forbid he just calls the police, a SWAT team comes and shoots the guy. Why not? Or the fact that, RiRi could have just done a literal, a literal Google search and found out exactly who this guy is and all of that. Natalie could have done it, but again, when you're not smart and you don't have smart people writing these things, this is what you get. The father leaves and he settles in his chair there and he's good. So RiRi has the suit, right? Goes into the suit, suits up, everything comes together there and all of that, right? Everything is cool and all of that there, and the suit there and it's on, right? This is the suit she built using parts from the car. Again, you clearly don't need millions of dollars to build it because you can build it. So it's crap. Everything you're going on about is just crap. You have everything you need. You're just ungrateful as hell. That's all. Right? So she's in there and she's ready to get the magical upgrade to the suit. So the girl goes there, does a little incantation thing, starts it up, and when she starts it up, now the energy starts to flow into the suit, right? When that happens now, the energy in this, the magical energy is actually, overriding Natalie, because the energy can't sustain both of them, right? The magical energy and Natalie, the hologram thing, is not sustaining both of them. Even though the girl tried to warn that, magic has a cost, and she's like, yeah, I'm willing to pay all that. Yeah, you're not. So what does that happen now? Natalie starts to glitch out because she's going to be erased. RiRi tries to download her to the laptop, and Natalie's freaking out. She's like, please do something. I'm scared, RiRi, and all that. Yeah, she tried to download, and then RiRi says, and then Natalie says to her, I love you, RiRi. And then she vanishes. It's like, oh my God, where'd she go? The hologram, the data Natalie wasn't able to download to the laptop in time. So Natalie's gone. Right? Natalie is gone. And that's the long and short of it. So what did we get from this episode? We learned that The gaylords of crime are okay doing crime, committing murder, but apparently they aren't okay when they find out that the guy they work for committed murder on one of them and then tried to strangle another one. Because apparently they thought this was one of those happy, fun time criminal gangs where everybody got together, hold hands, and sing Kumbaya. Yeah. We also find out that RiRi is the architect of her own problems. Joe proved to be a better person than she was, despite her ruining his life. We also find out that RiRi clearly doesn't need millions of dollars to build a suit because she could do it with utilizing parts from a car. Yeah, that really is as stupid as it sounds. And then we find out that, when you try to add magical energy to a mech suit, it overrides the hologram matrix in there and erases Natalie, the only character in the show with an actual personality. Oh, and all of this has just been about daddy issues. That's Ironheart for you people. One more episode to go, but for this episode, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 because I just didn't care enough about any of this for it to actually make any sense, and that's what it is. One more episode to go, people. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. You have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, ring the notification bell to be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time for the final episode of Ironheart for season 1 and only 1. Take care.